Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Short-Term Rental Host Wizardry with Justin, where we break down the easiest and most effective ways to automate our short-term rental business, whether that be on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. It doesn't matter to us. In the last video, we tackled some of the most important programs and services that you can use to automate your short-term rental business. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most important, arguably the most important, if you have a team under your belt and multiple properties, and that is Hospitable. We're going to break down some of the most effective tools that they have within Hospitable, in some ways that we can automate them so we can let team members know about what's going on. So stick around. Let's watch this video. Let's break it down. Grab some green tea. That's what I got right next to me. Enjoy it while you're watching. We'll keep it short. Let's dive into it. All right, let's start with number one over at guest experience. Guest experience is going to be where you're going to create your messaging rules, your review rules, any custom codes, which we'll get into, or canned responses that you can have your team kind of ready to go and shoot out to guests. If we go over to messaging rules, one of the most important things and the most utilized pieces of Hospitable is right here. These are all our automated messages for every one of the properties that we've had or that we've had in the past. Kind of keeps a nice archive of the information for all those properties. You can see we've had Wi-Fi, booking confirmation, check-in, check-out, pre-approvals, all that stuff. And this is really cool what you can do here. So if you go to Add New, you've got your section on the left, which is reply to an event. So this is just a trigger. So if there's a new inquiry, you can make a message where, boom, the second someone inquires on your property for a couple dates, it sends them a message that you can either curate or they have some templates for you, and so on and so forth. What we use here, I believe we do pre-approval, request to book, new reservation, and then expired pre-approval. The next part that we utilize probably the most is setting up scheduled messages. So these are just on a time base. So if you were to book one of our properties, 5 minutes after you booked it, you would get a detailed message welcoming you to the property with a couple of the highlights that people most commonly ask about. And I want to say that overall, for messaging rules, your goal should be to eliminate the back and forth between the guests and you and your team, or just the guests and you. The less messages that can come through, the better. It opens up lanes for miscommunication or missed messages, or maybe just misunderstanding of the rules if we have too much back and forth, and gets you out of the inbox, which puts more time into your day, and that's what we're here to do. So setting these up and having them be detailed, put yourself in the guest's shoes. What would I ask if I was in this situation? That's the most important thing that you got to do and think about when you're setting up these messages. Um, the last and final, but the coolest part of Hospitable, which has really grown over the last couple of years, is their AI function, which will reply to questions about any of these topics. It looks like there's about 25 to 30 now. When I first started, there was about 10 to 15, and their response rate was weak to low. So it wasn't good at detecting questions about the firewood or the fireplace, for instance. A question could come in and the system wouldn't really pick it up, and the question might be sitting there for a couple hours if someone didn't see it. But now, with AI really growing, all of these have a strong response rate. So if someone asks about the Wi-Fi at any of our properties, instantly they're getting a message back. Same with swimming pool at those that have them, laundry, parking, restaurants, pets, early check-in discounts. Those are some of the ones that we use the most often. But if you've got a property that can utilize all these, I suggest that you set these up. And this is just how you would create a new one. I can do, if we go click beach here, provide questions about beach, you would pick the hosts that you wanted to come from, pick the properties that you would want it to come from, and then the timing when you would want it to come. And then the last thing is you always want to answer these questions instantly. The last thing you want to do is have it prepare the answer and never send, because it defeats the purpose of you answering, being out of the inbox, because you still have to answer the guest. So I always do answer instantly. And this whole format, this whole page, regardless if it's an AI responding question, a time sensitive question, or after an event trigger question, this template is all the same. So it looks exactly like this. And once you do one, you're going to get in the hang of it and get addicted to make a bunch of them. So that was messages, and that's how to make one. Also in here, which is super cool about guest experience, you can do review rules. So these just post all of our properties gets reviewed 3 days after checkout. We do 3 days just in case anything happens in that time, or if our cleaners find anything, we can delay this. If you do this a couple hours after checkout, you might launch out a good review for someone who wasn't so good if the cleaners get back and say something was bad. So we do this for all of our properties. I believe we just have a separate one for this one home here. And then those automatically get sent out. Questions, these are the AI generated stuff. So you can see all the ones that we have made. And then if you look at this right side, this is the strength. And when I started, like I said, these were all yellow to red. So it was okay to not so okay. Now these are all strong and they get answered, 95 to 100% of the time. The last little piece, which I'll have to do a bigger deep dive in, is custom codes and canned responses. Custom codes are when you're generating a message. If we go over to here, so if we want to customize a message, see if we make this percentage sign, we can have Hospitable grab any of these things. Guest phone number, listing description, and it'll automatically populate that into the message for the property that it's being sent. So let me say that again. If I picked listing description, a listing name, this is better. If I pick listing name, I can set this message up for all of my properties and it'll send that listing name to that guest who inquires on that property. So if a guest inquires in Fort Lauderdale, it'll send the Fort Lauderdale listing name. If a guest inquires in Crestline, California, it'll send that listing name, which is super cool. Now a custom code gives you the ability to make your own. So let's say we did new check-in time. So this would be something you could set up if you were doing an early check-in. Hey, wanted to let you know you've been approved for a 2 p.m. check-in. And this will be your new short code to be triggered around a couple different parameters that you set anytime that you allow an early check-in. And you can set the condition here. Here we go. Check-in. Here we go. This is awesome. These are all the different parameters you can do here. Let's see. The night before check-in is available. So that would garner that any time that this happens, if you want to set this up, you could give them a 2 p.m. check-in. Because likely someone's not going to, this would be something that you would send either after your check-in window has closed for the night before. That way you can give this person an early check-in without them even asking. This is actually pretty cool, and I might set this up for my own properties, but I like this. And then same thing, you set up the properties that you want and you go from there. Right, and then the last little part of here, messaging, guest experience has so much. Canned responses are super cool. This just helps out my team. We have some basic ones that we use for all the properties. Emergency maintenance issues, a discount, reply, packages delivered. People get super concerned with that sometimes, which is pretty funny. If there's a message that my team doesn't know the answer to, this is a little, we will get back to you as soon as we confirm this with the team. These are all just in the inbox, ready for them to just click on and send. And then there's a couple properties that have very specific asks, like their house rules, and this one has a boat launch, for example. Rather than burying this away into our Notion database or in notes for our team, we just have it right here in Hospitable. So if a guest from this property is bringing a boat, they can just pull up this message and send it. They don't even have to copy and paste. They just hit one button in the inbox and it gets sent. So that was guest experience. Let's go over to operations, where it's a little bit thinner, but way powerful. I don't utilize tasks. This is something that you could definitely check out. We set this up for an email for one of our cleaners, but we don't use the task calendar, which is why I don't use the task rules. The task calendar is where you can, let's say you had everyone on your team for all of your properties into Hospitable. That was AC contractors, handymen, cleaners, housekeepers, owners. You could set up little tasks in here that will allow them to be notified for those. Now cleanings are a little bit different, and I'll show you how in operations we utilize this for cleaners. But if you were to set up a handyman task in here, let's say if we did this window from the 12th yesterday to tomorrow the 14th, we could give a handyman a task within there, and he would get notified in Hospitable. Super powerful. I have a hard time sometimes getting some one-off handyman to join this if they're only going to work with us once every couple months. So that's the only reason I don't use it. If we go back here into operations, what we utilize the most will be our teammates. Now this is where you can add anyone from your team, whether it's a cleaner, owner, maintenance person, manager, and set up their communication preferences, whether it's phone, email, or text. And then here's where the bulk of our work is being done. These are just notification rules we set up by SMS. We have one by email to an owner who wants to be notified whenever a booking comes in. So we set that up for him for both his properties. He gets an email about those. And then the most utilized ones are new reservation. Those are texts that go to all of our cleaners for every property. The second something gets booked, whether it's 6 days out or 6 months out, if that reservation gets altered or canceled, they'll also get a text so they can add it to their calendar and make the adjustments accordingly. And then I found that it's helpful to do a 24-hour heads up 24 hours before checkout. So if checkout's 11 a.m., they're going to get it 11 a.m. the day before. Just as a simple reminder, they'll always have it on their calendar, and they always have access to our calendar, so they know it's happening. But this just kind of gives them like, hey, get prepared for the next day. Something I like to do is just prepare the next day, whether the night before or the day of as I'm doing things. So I like to send out these reminders as well. And then the last little 2 hours before checkout, we send this just as a reminder, like, hey, we're on the docket today. You can let us know if you're going to do this a little bit later or the next day. But just want you to be aware that someone is definitely checking out and the reservation didn't change at all. The last couple we utilize, which we have some cleaning checklists. I created those in Google Forms. Go check out Google Forms if you want to make cleaning checklists. It's super helpful. Put a little link in here, and all these individual cleaners just get a checklist that they fill out during their clean. And then we don't get notified about it. We can just go into Google Forms and see what's up. The last thing on the form just says, hey, let Justin and AJ know if something is wrong at this property or maintenance is needed. And they do so after filling out the form. So these are super helpful. And just like messages, you've got event triggers, you've got scheduled triggers, and then you've got task triggers as well. So super easy to set up. Last but not least is the direct function. Now, I think this gets overlooked a little bit in Hospitable. They don't talk about it too much other than it being a PMS. At least when I was starting, Hospitable was very property management system focused and not really on their direct. Their direct has grown in bounds and lengths since I started a couple of years ago. So I utilize it now, and it is awesome. It eliminates the need for you to go out and get a custom site built for your properties if you're just getting started. And even at myself with 25 properties, I'm still going to use this for a little bit. I've looked into building my own custom site. I have some website design experience in the past, and it's a lot of work for me. It would take up a lot of time, and having someone else do it is actually more expensive than you would think. There's a lot that go into making a platform that is very Airbnb similar. So this cuts all of that out. And the cool thing is, it's super easy to set up. You got a quick overview here. This is what it would look like if you set it up. You could put in a domain. You don't need to. I bought this domain. Google domains are usually $12 a year. You set up your design, pick a template, which is super cool. I think we have, warm and homey. You put your logo, little hero title, subtitle, all the cool stuff that you want in here. And then it's super simple. You add your property, whatever ones you want to be in there. Now, keep in mind, each property costs about $5 to $8 a month on here, depending on the basic or premium subscription that you choose. This property search, I think, is new. I think this just allows you to search by locations if you have multiple properties in that area. Let me go ahead and show you our site. So this is it. I just put in that information. You've got it all here. You've got exactly, someone can just search right from the top if they're looking for their place. Let's go Nashville. I know we're pretty booked up, so we're going to go here to here. 10 guests. Oh, this is actually super cool that they changed this. This is amazing. So you've got all of our Nashville properties that are available. And then it even went ahead and showed some of our properties in the rest of the country, which is very cool. So let's click into this one right here. I didn't have to do anything for these listings. They pull all this information from Airbnb and VRBO, which is amazing, and organize it for you. So makes a little brief overview here, all the good to know stuff. This is our listing description. I will say, it is a little clunky. I would like to organize a little bit more, but for what you pay for, this is pretty fantastic. Gives it all the pictures and everything. You can view them all here, and then you're ready to go. It's got a little map here where you can zoom out and see exactly where we are, which is very cool. Then you can change up your dates and request a book. The coolest thing about booking direct is you eliminate the big Airbnb and VRBO host fees. You just have one single service fee. And then you can also create your own discount codes. So what I've gone ahead and done is created a $40 off promo code that we send as an automated message anytime anyone asks about a discount. So it'll say, hey, we don't have any discounts on Airbnb, but we do have a direct booking site, which might cut out some of the booking fees. And here's a $40 off coupon. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to take that anytime. Any money you can get off your stay is good money. So that's an overview of some of the most important things that I think Hospitable can be utilized for. There are a multitude of different use cases for this system. There's a bunch of different apps you can integrate. We didn't get into syncing your locks with this, syncing your calendars, email notifications that are custom for cleaners and things like that, and what it looks like when they look at their calendars. So I think the ones that I showed you are the biggest and most useful. So go out there, check it out, set these things up. If you have any questions, please reach out. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. And we want to help out more people here. That's what it's all about. So thank you for watching.